3 years had passed. Claire never returned to Chelswick. She changed her phone number and got a new job. Now she lived in Bristol and wrote articles about tourism. She tried not to remember that autumn nightmare. However, on particularly quiet nights, she felt as if someone was standing outside her window. A stone faces, frozen in the semi-darkness. She only had to blink, and there was no one there. She thought it was just the aftermath of what she had been through, until the letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a photograph. It showed the roof of the old Chelswick Cathedral, and there, on the cornice, sat the gargoyle again. Only now its eyes glowed blue instead of red. On the back was written, "The balance has been disturbed." "They are returning." Claire dropped the photo with trembling hands. Who could have sent it? Professor Fletcher had died a year ago. Emma was missing. Only memories and horror remained. As it turned out, the horror was not over. A week later, the news reported that another girl had disappeared in Chelswick. The police wrote it off as an accident, but residents found a strange symbol on one of the walls near her house. The same symbol that once adorned the altar of an ancient cult. She arrived in the city at night. Chelswick seemed deserted. There were no lights or sounds in the windows. Only a faint wind swayed the signs and creaked the shutters. The entire center was blocked off. The city council announced that the old buildings would be restored. However, Claire realized that these words were a lie. She reached the town hall. There were indeed gargoyles sitting on the moonlit roof, more than a dozen of them. Some were broken with broken wings, but others looked as if they had just been carved. She pointed her flashlight at them and froze. The stone eyes of one of the figures glowed in response. Suddenly, a door slammed somewhere below. Claire saw a staircase leading down. She went down the stairs and found herself in the basement. The walls here were covered with mold, and the air was thick as smoke. Candles stood on the floor, arranged in a circle. In the center stood a man in a robe. "I've been waiting for you, Claire," he said in a hoarse voice. She recognized that tone. Grayson. However, that was impossible. She had seen his body disappear in a flash of light when the altar collapsed. "You're dead," she whispered. "No," he replied. "I am part of what you prevented." The winged oracle does not die. He only waits for someone to open the door again. He raised his hand, and the flames of the candles flared brighter. The stone beneath their feet creaked as if something was moving beneath it. A dark liquid like molten stone flowed from the cracks. "People think gargoyles were guardians," he continued. "However, in fact, they are vessels. The oracle feeds on their souls. With each awakening, it grows stronger." Claire backed away. In the darkness, she heard a rustling sound, as if thousands of wings were fluttering above her. When she looked up, the basement ceiling began to move. Gargoyles, dozens, hundreds of them, descended, spreading their stone wings. She rushed toward the exit, but Grayson blocked her path. "You think destroying the altar ended it all?" he smirked. "The altar is only the key." "The source is within us, within everyone who saw them. Even you, Claire." He took a step forward, and his face began to change. His skin turned gray, cracked, and his lips turned to stone. "We are their reflection," he whispered. "We are their continuation." Claire desperately grabbed an iron bar and struck the nearest gargoyle. The stone cracked, and hot air poured out from inside. The creature let out a piercing scream, and everyone else froze. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then she heard a very loud roar and ran to the stairs that led up to the street. She ran outside. The sky was covered with clouds, and the moon had disappeared. The city was drowned in screams. Gargoyles were tearing down roofs, glass was falling from facades, and the wind was carrying dust and debris. Claire ran to the church, to where it all began. Inside the church, she saw that the altar had been restored. On it lay a book, The very diary she had once found in the library. Only now the pages were written in red. She opened it and saw her name. On dozens of pages. The same word over and over. Claire. 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 She heard a roar, looked up, and saw Grayson standing in front of her, now completely stone, with huge wings behind his back. "Become one of us, or become their victim," he said. Claire remembered the professor's words. The souls of gargoyles can be sealed back in if their reflections are destroyed. She picked up the mirror standing against the wall and pointed it at Grayson. He roared, but not out of fear, out of pain. The stone began to crumble, and with it, all the gargoyles outside. The city resounded with a crash, as if hundreds of statues were collapsing at once. The light from the diary flashed, and Claire felt the air become clean and light. And then, darkness. When she woke up, it was morning. There was no sign of destruction or gargoyles on the streets. Claire went out into the square and saw people going about their business calmly. No one remembered the events of the night. No one except her. There was only one figure sitting on the town hall bell tower, a gargoyle. Its empty eyes were turned toward the sky. Claire saw the gargoyle's stone lips whisper, "The balance has been restored, but our time will come soon."